Hello everyone, Sheek here with another Transformers review, and today I will be reviewing the Open and Play Big Spring, a third-party masterpiece version of Springer. A very reasonable price. I can't remember exactly how much it was, off of TF Source. The box is relatively simple. On the back you can see him in his robot and vehicle modes. Warning, not for children under 3 years, ages 15 and up, made in China. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this guy opened up. Here we have Big Spring out of his box. He does come with a couple of accessories. He is Masterpiece scale as far as I can tell. Obviously, no Autobot emblem right here. But he does feel like he doesn't have a whole lot of metal in him. He feels mostly plastic, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a little less common with third party. And he does feel a little bit loose in some places. And he does not come with instructions. So this might be an interesting experience for getting this all figured out. Anyway, the face, it does seem a little bit stylized. It looks a little more anime, kinda. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to look quite like G1 Springer's face. The face, anyway. The head does seem about right. He comes with a blaster, which it seems like it's hard to get his hand to grip it tightly enough. But he does have a blaster. And he does have his sword, of course. And he comes with this. I'm not sure. It's probably a reference to one of the episodes. I can't remember off the top of my head. Looks like it might be a bomb. I really, honestly can't remember what it's supposed to be. And then he does have a sword. And one of the accessories that he comes with is a sheath. Not a sheath, but pretty much a place where you can put it. It does remove. And then that's where you plug the blade in for the helicopter mode. And he can hold his sword. Let's see how well he actually holds it though. But yep, he can hold his sword and it doesn't look too bad. I like how it has a nice silvery look to it, although not quite accurate to how a helicopter's blades would be. Blue for the handle, and I do quite like that. This figure so far. Now, of course, for transformation, I don't know if he's really dinky, if it's kind of difficult, but we'll see. Now, let's go ahead and get down to his articulation. So his head, as you can see, is on a ball joint. It's a little bit, it feels a little loose, not super loose, but you can get quite a bit of range of motion. It can do a full 360. You can look up fairly far, you can look down pretty far, and he does have quite a bit of wiggly waggly. His arms at the shoulders can't really go out that far, mainly because of this. If you were to move that out of the way, you can get about that much range of motion. His arms are on, his shoulders are on a ratchet, which you can actually see the joint in there. But it ratchets. It can do a full 360. Let's see what that is. Huh? What is that supposed to be? Headlights? Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. Bicep swivel. Can do over 90-degree bend at the elbow. Wrist rotation, and his hands are articulated, not completely individually, but it's better than I guess standard articulation on most Chug figures. Some Masterpiece have about the same with the other side, obviously. He does have waist swivel, a little bit of an ab crunch, so that's actually pretty good. Legs, whoa, that's what I mean about a little bit loose in some places. Legs can go forward that far, back about that far, thigh swivel, about 90-degree bend at the knee. He can do the full splits. He does have ankle tiltage, and that's pretty much it about articulation. So as soon as I figure out how to transform this guy, I'll be right back with you. After an undisclosed amount of time, I have got him all figured out, and we'll go ahead and take a look at his car mode first, since it's the less interesting of the two. Or, we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll decide as we transform him. Okay, so first thing you want to do is to put in his hands. Just hop open both flaps, and you'll want to do both flaps. Then just flip in. And also, I'm going to make sure his hands are rotated a specific way as to allow for his both flaps to close in. And if they aren't positioned just right, they will not close properly. It's very annoying, actually. There we are. Got those done. Now the next thing you want to do is pretty much undo this part. Is ab crunching. Just that one. Also, another person remarked that it does not like to stay in place, which is definitely a little problematic. But you just pretty much just undo this. Come on. Yep. Oh, and also I'm gonna untab these right here. So that just goes a little bit, opens that up. Oh, and also pull on his back a little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit of little dynamic in this getting flipped around. Then his head, you pretty much position it however you want to. It doesn't, like I said, there's no instructions, and everyone seems to just do it a little bit differently. But you just kind of get it up in there, and then that, and then you can see his face just a little bit. It's not the biggest thing. It's not the end of the world, really. But like I said, there's a little bit of indecisiveness exactly how it's supposed to go. Anyway, for car mode, since I decided we'll just do car mode first, you want to pull this apart and then slide that in, click that into place. And then also, regardless of whether or not you take him into car mode or robot mode, you want, or car mode or helicopter mode, you want to flip that booster out. And then you also want to flip these flaps out. And then these right here, just rotate there. Then also these right here are in the proper position for the car mode. No, helicopter mode. You want to rotate these around, get them turned all the way around, then they tab in right in there. Second side just like the first, rotate around, tab into place, and then kind of just want to get all this lined up and then just slide up all the way pretty much. Rotate around and slide up. And then back here, you're going to want to open up his legs, and for this there is an actual little lever that you definitely want to move up, because if you don't, you risk breaking off that green tab. As you can see, it slides in and out with that little lever. That's just to lock his leg into place, which is pretty nifty. But if you aren't aware of that, that could be problematic. And then you want to rotate the fronts of the legs around like this, close up his feet, rotate his toes in first before closing that up. Close up, and then you want to rotate. Okay, you want to rotate his waist around, and you want to also things want to flop around a little bit. Alrighty then. There we are. And then you kind of get his legs up like this. As you can see, definitely an involved or kind of acrobatic feeling of a transformation. And a lot easier to do off camera, of course, as a lot of these things often are. Okie doke. Ah, there we are. Got it wrong. Yeah, waist need to be like this. And then, and yes, I have transformed him recently in the past time limit. Not going to disclose it. Somewhere between at least a few days. It's been at least a few days since this video started, but I have transformed him quite a bit of times. But right now, of course, on camera, he is being a little more difficult. But then again, looking from different angles can make things a little bit different. Alright. Okay, so you want to get the legs. There we are. all straightened up, and you want to get, there we are, get his legs together, and then you rotate the rotate this up and around, and that just kind of goes into there, and then these will peg together right there, and then these right here tab in to the sides. And also these door things tend to slide back in on their own, but those slots are open to allow for the robot mode. But I don't know if you noticed, but they are really good about going into place on their own. So I wasn't able to specifically point that out in transformation. Okay, and for this, just collapse that down, and then get this rotate around, and I really should have just said, hey, turning him into helicopter mode first, because it's actually easier to get him into helicopter mode first from robot mode. This is pretty much to get him back into car mode. You're going to have, another thing about the feet, you close up the feet, then rotate them in. There we are. Okay, I haven't transformed him a lot into robot mode and back into vehicle mode. I've transformed quite a bit between helicopter and robot mode because I absolutely adore his helicopter and helicopter and car modes. Okay, enough about that. Now one thing that is a little tricky sometimes is getting that to sit just flush, just right. There we are. Come on. No, not rotate. Wrong way. Okay. Getting these just to sit just so, but you get them rotate around properly. At this, and then once you just close that on there, unfortunately it doesn't sit very well. It's a problem on various copies that I've seen people review, not just mine. So I guess it's good to know that it's just not my copy personally, but it also means that since this is, I think, a later release, I'm not sure if it's a re-release or not, it means that they never solved the problem. But you just want to collapse these in, just like so. And you can have those up or down, but it has them down, or you should probably have them down if you want it to be less helicopter-like. But yeah, here we have pretty much the back of the car done. Now let's go ahead and finish the front up a bit more. So you press this into there, like that, and then you, come on, well, that is assuming it doesn't come undone immediately. And then you just tab into the side of the leg, like that, and then tab into the front up here, like that. And then same with this side. Tab in, and then tab in, and get all nice and squozen. And it looks absolutely adorable. A little chonky, but his robot mode is a little chonky, kind of like the G1 cartoon a little bit. So of course his vehicle mode is going to be a little chonkier than the more sleek G1 design in the on the cartoon. His sword doesn't really have storage in this mode unless you were to, I guess, put the little sheath thing and then slide it on. Other than that, it's pretty much an accessory that you can't put. The gun you could peg in there if you wanted to, and then the football thingy, the grenade, whatever it is, obviously can't be stored anywhere. And that's about it for his car mode. Oh wait, one last thing. He does have little headlights. One thing that, not necessary, as far as I know, not in the show at all. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but it's pretty cool and a way to make it look more like a car than it otherwise would. And as you may have noticed, it has nice rubber tires and he rolls quite well. So yeah, that's about it for car mode, and we'll go ahead and get him into helicopter mode. Getting him into helicopter mode from here is relatively straightforward. First, let's go ahead and do the front first. Just go ahead and disconnect and disconnect. Although it can be a little bit tricky because you do have to flip these around again, and it does not like to flip around with the arms in the way, so you kind of have to slide it back just a little bit. Come on, slide back. There we are. To get it to flip back around. And then you just tab, and then to get it to tab into place, you kind of have to undo the legs just a little bit. So you do have to undo a few things to get everything to just line up as it's supposed to, but it's nothing too what's it called? Too crazy. Here we are. Get that flipped back around, tabbed back into place. Oh, let's go ahead and flip this, pull this up, pull that and close that up, and then close up like that. And then one thing that is actually pointed out, although you don't have to do it if you don't want to, is to have this stick out like that. I did not figure this out, someone else pointed it out, but it helps the cockpit stay in place better, so it doesn't want to spring up when well, just whenever with handling and stuff, because it did want to keep popping up, and it was really annoying until that was pointed out. Hey, you can just put that up. Okay, and then for here, you want to collapse that, rotate that down, although it's being, okay, now, rotate that in is what I meant, or rotate that out, and then you're going to rotate this to the side, open up this one side, flip out this, that's just, I guess, give a little more flair for the helicopter mode, and I do believe G1 Springer, at least in the cartoon model, has that just at least a little bit. And then flip that out, rotate around, flip out, close up, tab into place, tab into place, and then you want to flip these down, rotate around, clip into place, flip down, rotate around. It is on a double hinge, so sometimes it will not quite want to fold just right, but you flip that down and around, and then you want to slide these most of the way back. It depends a little bit. It's not all the way back, but it is pretty close, so you just kind of have to go based off of where it's supposed to, everything's supposed to line up. So you want to go ahead and get his legs put back into place. Just tab back in and tab back in. There we go, and then you just pretty much extend these out, push the back part back together, make sure it clips together as well, although it's being a little finicky right now. Of course it's being finicky. Why wouldn't it be finicky? Alright. Got it got together now. And these, as you can see, they flip themselves out, which is kind of nice about turning to car mode, because it does pull those out when you flip them out. Oh, and for whatever reason, that got pushed down. Okay, that might be why this wasn't quite going back in. There we are. Okay, got that back into place. Now just need to get everything lined up. So this actually tabs in on the higher slot this time. Get that tab into place, although it is fighting me just a little bit. There we are. Come on. And the main part that gets it slid down further is not the slider, but is the double shoulder hinge pivot thing. Yeah, hinge, double hinge, whatever you want to call it, however you want to say it. And then this, just make sure the canopies or cockpit's back into place, and as you can see, it actually stays in relatively well. Doesn't want to spring right back up. And then that's pretty much helicopter mode. It does roll pretty well. And then the last thing you want to do is take the sword, just split it apart, pull it down and stick it in there, and there we have a helicopter. And this by far, other than, I mean, robot mode is pretty good, except for the face. The face looks a little pudgy, swollen, whatever reason, it looks a little odd. But the helicopter mode is by far my favorite mode of his, I think. It's probably the mode that I'll keep him displayed in the most. And yeah, that's about it for the open and play Big Spring. It might not have looked like he was that fun to transform, but believe me, he is fun to transform, just not on camera. Anyway, if you like this review and you'd like to see more, please click that like and subscribe button to see more. Until next time, have a good one, everyone.